We're all looking for it, happiness. But what if I told you that the very tools we use every day, the ones that are supposed to help us connect and succeed, what if they're actually stealing it? Let's dive into how we can get that feeling back in a world that, let's be honest, is built to pull us away from it.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine this. It's February 2026, but honestly, it could be this morning. It's 6:45 a.m. The day's just starting. Everything's quiet, full of possibility. And then, you know what I'm talking about. That buzz. Before you've even had a sip of coffee, the whole world just comes crashing in. You see a peer just got a new promotion on LinkedIn, TikTok serving you up some instant mood booster. And oh look, your friend is on a yoga retreat on Instagram. Bam. Just like that, you're hit with this wave of comparison of what you should be doing, and your feet haven't even touched the ground yet.
So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this constant flood of notifications and picture-perfect lives, what does it even mean to be truly happy anymore? What does it feel like? And more importantly, how on earth do we find it?
Well, to figure that out, we've got to pull back the curtain and look at what we're really up against. And listen, this isn't just a matter of having more willpower. No, we're dealing with a full-on, highly engineered distraction machine. Let's get into exactly how our joy gets, hijacked.
Okay, this is the really critical part. The distractions we're all dealing with, they're not accidents. They're not just random interruptions. They are designed from the ground up, using these incredibly powerful algorithms that feed on dopamine, all to keep our eyes glued to the screen, to keep us scrolling, clicking, engaging, and often it comes at the cost of our own happiness.
But here's the thing. Not all screen time is the same. Researchers draw a really important line in the sand. On one side, you've got passive scrolling. That's when you're just, lurking, consuming endless content without really interacting. And that's directly linked to feeling more lonely and less happy with your life. But on the other side, there's active engagement. That's when you're actually part of the conversation, commenting, sharing, making real connections. And that can actually build genuine support.
And we're not talking about a tiny dip here. The effect is huge. One study found that heavy passive scrollers report their life satisfaction is 28% lower. I mean, think about that, 28%. That is a massive hit to your well-being. And it all comes down to how you're using these apps.
So what's the fix? What happens if we just unplug for a bit? Well, the results are pretty stunning, and they happen fast. Taking just a 1-week break from social media can cause a big drop in anxiety. We're talking 16%. Depression? Down 25%. Even insomnia improves. It's just a crystal clear sign of how heavy that constant digital noise really is.
And I saw this quote from a user on X that just hits the nail on the head. It says, "The things you think will make you happy are usually just distractions from the things that actually will." And it's so true, right? We chase the likes, we chase that next promotion, all these quick fixes we see online, thinking that's the secret. But really, it's just distracting us from the real stuff.
Psychologists actually break happiness down into 2 different flavors. First up, you've got what they call hedonic pleasure. The best way to think about this is like a sugar rush. It's that quick high you get from a social media like or buying something new. It feels great for a second, but it fades fast, and then you're just looking for the next hit. Now, the other type is called eudaimonic well-being, and this is the good stuff, the deep, lasting fulfillment. It's not a fleeting high, it's that sustained meaning you get from working towards a real purpose, from growing as a person, and from building real connections with people. This is the foundation of real happiness.
All right, so let's dig into one of the big ways we try to find that deeper well-being, chasing our goals, right? The hustle, the grind, the achievement. But as we'll see, it can be a bit of a double-edged sword.
So here's the key distinction. It all comes down to the kind of goals we're chasing. Are they extrinsic, focused on outside approval like wealth or status? Or are they intrinsic, focused on personal growth and meaning? The research is super clear on this. Only those intrinsic goals are reliably linked to long-term happiness.
And get this, here's a wild twist. We're all taught to think, once I achieve X, then I'll be happy. But what if we've got it completely backwards? Check this out. Data from Oxford shows that happy workers are actually 13% more productive. It flips the whole script. It suggests happiness isn't the prize you get at the end. It's the fuel in the engine that gets you there. It literally makes you more creative and a better problem solver.
Okay, so meaningful goals are one piece of the puzzle. But that brings us to the next piece. And honestly, it might be the most important one of all. At our core, we're social beings.
And the power of human connection, well, that's the true anchor. I mean, this is backed up by one of the longest studies ever done on human life. The Harvard Grant study followed people for over 85 years. And after all that time, what was the #1 predictor of happiness and health? It wasn't wealth. It wasn't fame. It was the quality of their relationships, plain and simple. It's about having people you can really, truly count on.
But here's the thing about connecting with others. It really starts with connecting with yourself. I love this quote. Sinking into yourself, finding peace in solitude, reveals your true self and happiness. It's so true. You have to be able to find that quiet, to know who you are without all the noise, so you can actually show up as your real self for other people.
And that idea, finding the quiet, leads us perfectly into our third pathway. It's this growing movement that's basically a direct reaction to our crazy, always-on world. It's all about mindfulness and slow living, just rediscovering the simple art of being right here, right now.
And make no mistake, this is becoming a big deal. We're seeing a real cultural shift, especially with Gen Z, who are actively prioritizing reflection over the hustle culture. You see it everywhere. Trends like tech-free days, people getting into mindful hobbies, and this big pushback against the idea that you have to optimize every single second of your life for productivity. It's about finding simple joy.
So, okay, we've got our 3 big pathways to happiness: chasing meaningful goals, building real connections, and practicing mindfulness. The trick isn't choosing your favorite. The real magic happens when you start weaving them all together.
Let's break it down. Chasing goals? Awesome for growth, but you risk burnout. Building connections? Key to a long, healthy life, but it's so easy to get stuck in superficial digital ties. And mindfulness? Amazing for stress, but even that can get twisted into another thing to optimize. The sweet spot is in the middle, a balanced life that brings together that deep, meaningful fulfillment with those simple, everyday pleasures.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but where do you even start? Look, it doesn't have to be some huge change overnight. Here are 3 super simple, really powerful things you can literally start doing today. First, create a device-free zone. Maybe it's a dinner table, no phones allowed. Second, try a simple gratitude practice. Just 60 seconds to think of 3 good things. And third, get outside. Even for 5 minutes, just immerse yourself in a little bit of nature.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This quote really sums it up. Great minds are content with little, find joy in depth, not in distractions. Real joy isn't out there in the frantic chase for more. It's found by going deeper, by choosing to be present, and by appreciating the good stuff that's already here.
So I want to leave you with a question, a challenge really. Think about your day today. Think about your phone, your habits. What's just one distraction, just one, that you can consciously release, starting right now, to rediscover a little bit of your own quiet, innate joy?